On this episode of Maritime Insights from a deck officer, a brand new cargo sail ship named the Neoliner Origin, right over here, unfortunately got some storm damage on its maiden voyage across a rough Atlantic Ocean. Now in this video, I will answer questions that you might have, such as what kind of damage did this cargo sail ship sustain? When and where did she got damaged? What caused the damage and could it be prevented? Maybe was it a design flaw? And how does a sailing cargo ship work? Answers to all these questions starting right now. First of all, why am I interested in this story? Well, from a young age, I was already sailing. Here I was about 2. And then here I was about 9 or 10, sailing my first Optimist. Then I got a little bit of a bigger sailing boat. And then I sailed my parents' sailboat as well. And after that, I went to the Maritime Academy in Vlissingen in the Netherlands. And then the ships got even bigger. So this is a ro-ro that I worked on, which is a roll-on, roll-off cargo ship between Zeebrugge and Göteborg, so between Belgium and Sweden. And the Neoliner Origin is also a ro-ro vessel, so it rolls on and rolls off cargo. So that's why I'm interested, because I love sailing and I worked on ro-ros. So yeah. Then this is a photo of me on the bridge from that ro-ro. We still had paper charts back then. And then over here, I worked on container ships, but mostly I worked for Holland America Line on cruise ships, and I did a couple of voyages on semi-submersibles like this one here, the Finesse, and that was also a very cool experience. As you could see, I have quite a lot of experience sailing, but also working on ro-ro ships and other various kinds of ships, and that's why I thought I'll give you my maritime insights on what could have possibly happened here. So on the Neoline website, they made a news update. And they said on the 18th of October 2025, a breakdown has occurred on the aft mainsail, top panel damaged. That's important. We're going to have a look at that. Forward mast sails are still fully functional, and Neoliner Origin is underway in hybrid mode, which means that they are under sail from the forward mast and the engine. Due to heavy weather conditions met by the vessel on the last days, a delay is expected. Hereafter, the updated ETA for next calls. So the ETA is for Saint Pierre and Miquelon, which is in Canada, on the 24th of October 2025. And the ETA for Baltimore in the USA is for the 30th of October 2025. Here's the sailing schedule for the Neoliner Origin. And they leave from Saint-Nazaire here in France. And then they do an 8-day Atlantic crossing to Saint Pierre et Miquelon. Then they do 4 days to Baltimore, and then from Baltimore 3 days to Halifax, and then from Halifax back to Saint Pierre et Miquelon, and then back across the ocean for 8 days back to Saint-Nazaire. Now they want to do 12 rotations per year, and this round trip here would be 24 days total. That means they still have roughly 6 or 7 days extra before they make another rotation. Meaning that they leave themselves some wiggle room for weather. So if there is a lot of wind or there is not a lot of wind, this will give them some extra wiggle room. Neoline mentioned on their website that the damage occurred on the 18th of October. Now they left on the 16th of October. So yeah, a couple days later and they were already in trouble. So this is the past track, and I found that here on the 19th of October, like early in the morning, so that would also be late on the 18th. Their speed was only 4.3 knots. So, and you can see it's all red from here, meaning they were going very slow. So they were trying to figure things out, what happened right over there. You can see this time frame here is 19th of October at 0104 UTC. Then they were here at 12:34 UTC, still only doing 12.5 knots. So that's almost 12 hours later. And then another 8 hours later, and at 20:31 UTC, they picked up speed again, about 7.1 knots. So they were probably trying to figure out what's going on. for about 24 hours, but also they might have, I'll show you in a second, but they have gone through a storm. And if you want to go through a storm successfully, you might want to reduce the amount of sails that you have, especially after being damaged. So that is probably also why they have slowed down to go through the storm, but at a slower speed. Let's have a quick look at the weather radar on the 18th of October. And their location was about right over here, right before this storm coming in, right over there. This was part of Storm Benjamin that a few days later ravaged over Europe. And it was quite a big storm, so they went right into it. Now, when they left Saint-Nazaire in France, they, I'm sure they have already seen that coming, but they decided to go anyway. They probably have to make the schedule, so yeah, bad weather or not, they went. So I don't know. What do you think about that? Leave a comment below. Of course, you have to make your schedule, but at what cost? You know, if you know that there's a storm coming and you're going there for the first time over the Atlantic Ocean with basically an untested ship, you know, straight into a storm. That's what happens, you know, in commercial shipping when you have schedules to make. And then here you can see this is the wind speed and direction on the Atlantic Ocean. And then you can see on the 18, 19, 20, the wind speed just goes up, all the way up till the 21st, up to 30 knots of wind. And that is close to wind force 7 on the Beaufort scale. And you can expect 5 to 6 meters of waves in those wind conditions on the Atlantic Ocean. Now, unfortunately, that wasn't all the bad weather that they were getting, because once they got closer to St. Pierre et Miquelon here in Canada, on this side, on the 23rd of October, there was another weather system going east across the Atlantic as well that they have encountered and also caused them delays. So that was right over here. You can see that whole system, that weather system going over in the easterly direction. And then here some more on the 25th of October. So yeah, they got the Storm Benjamin first, and then they got some more bad weather at the end of their voyage. Now let's have a look at this unique and impressive cargo sail ship, which has a SolidSail system that is fully automated, meaning that the sails, they auto adjust to the point of sailing. And it can also auto reef and auto furl for wind conditions, meaning that when the wind increases, it can reduce the sail area automatically to reduce tension on the mast, which is a carbon fiber mast of 76 meters tall. On traditional sailboats, you will also see standing rigging, which this one does not have. And it's mainly because the entire assembly rotates, and the foresail actually helps balancing the mainsail, which means that you will have very low main sheet loads. And it also makes for easy self-tacking and also self-jibing, super easy to do, which is helpful when you do not have a large crew. Like the Neoliner Origin only has 13 crew members on board. Sailing a similar sized traditional sailing ship would require a lot more power to handle all those sails. But with this system, it makes it a lot easier to be handled by a small crew. Let's have a look at some components of the ship. Obviously, this is the mast. Then you have the mainsail over here. Then you have a boom, and normally the boom doesn't extend forward of the mast, but because of this fully automated SolidSail system, they have this boom going forward because the whole thing rotates. And then, of course, here in the front, you have the jib. Now, this is in a triangle, and this helps balance the mainsail. So if this jib is too large, then you will always yaw like downwind. But if it's too small, then you will head upwind, windwards into the wind. So that's also not great. So you want it to be balanced, and that's why designers figure out what is the optimal jib size to have a balanced system. Now they have a forward mast, but also an aft mast over here with the same components. And the component that was damaged was this panel right over here. They said it was the top panel of the aft mast main sail, which is right over here. We're going to have a look at that in some more details. But here you can see some more cool facts about the ship. It has 2 bow thrusters. It has also a stern thruster, but also a regular propeller. This is diesel electric powered, so it has a 3300 kilowatt engine and a 900 kilowatt engine. And here you can also see it has a keel, which are very small actually for this size of a ship, but that has its reasons as well. But you can also retract them as well, because obviously when you go into a port and it's very shallow, you can retract these keels. And a keel, for those that don't know what a keel is for, if you are sailing, you want to use the power of the wind, and the wind pushes you. But if you wouldn't have a keel, then it would just push you sideways through the water, and it would not convert that power into a forward momentum. So those keels are there to stop preventing you from dragging, but making you actually go forward. Now let's have a look at some details about the sails. So obviously we have the mainsail and the jib, and the main is actually a SolidSail, which are panels of carbon fiber. This is all part of the SolidSail system and manufactured by Chantier de l'Atlantique, which is in France. So they designed the entire rigging, and then the ship hull was built by RMK Marine in Turkey. And then we'll go into the other sails. So, but first, the structure of the solid sails are 2 rigid sails, each 76 meters tall, mounted on carbon masts. The jibs or the head sails are made by One Sails in Italy, and they use a recyclable 40 Forte material, which is a composite material. And production produced using low CO2 emission technologies, and it is also 100% recyclable. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the main solid sails, they have a lifespan of about 25 years. I mentioned the keels earlier. So the Neoliner Origin's water draft is normally 5.5 meters when the keels are retracted, and 12 meters with its anti-drafting fins deployed. The air draft is 88.2 meters with the mast upright, and 42 meters when the masts are tilted to their lowest position. That's actually a really cool feature, and I'm going to show you here in a second. Here's a cool photo of the mast actually being tilted. So it reduces the air draft from 88 to 42 meters. And if you want to go underneath a bridge, then that comes in quite handy. Now, they're going to Baltimore, which is on their itinerary. And there is the Baltimore Bridge, and it is famous for a couple of accidents there with the bridge. But in this case, they will lower the mast and they'll be able to go underneath no problem. Let's have a look at the panel that was damaged, which was on the aft sail, the aft main sail, and the top panel, which is this panel right over here. And you can see attachment points over here and there and over here. So basically there's a halyard that goes on the top of the sail, and when you pull that up, the sail goes up, and if you lower it, it goes down. And you can see it's like a harmonica system over here. So it just takes out all the panels while it goes up, and then if you lower it, it just folds back together, which is quite neat. The same thing happens with traditional sails as well. But this actually folds perfectly because they are rigid panels. Now, if I look a little bit further, you can see attachment points here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This one looks like a smaller one, but here they only have 2 small points where it's actually connecting. So keep an eye on that. We're going to look into that in a second. But you see all of them, they have these larger attachment points over here. You see that? So that's the first thing that I noticed. But here you can see a close-up of all the panels when they are laying down. And then you can see the attachment points here. They all have these solid attachment points. But then here they have this, yeah, you would say it's a rope. And that's probably what it is. Dyneema is the strongest rope that they use in sailing, but also for salvage operations. Instead of steel, they sometimes use Dyneema ropes because it's more flexible than steel wires. So that's probably what that is right over there, holding up that panel with this attachment point and this attachment point. Now, the top panel only has 2 of these, which is very surprising. So we're going to have a look at that in a second. If this top panel is all the way in the top of the mast, then it's about 88 meters above the water. And the maximum wind pressure and wind gusts are at a higher level than at water level. So it will have more wind and gusts on the top part. Then I was also thinking, like, maybe there was a lightning strike that they got into the mast, or maybe in this top panel, and it maybe affected these attachment points. But I'm really surprised that there's only 2 attachment points. Like I said, yes, it is probably Dyneema rope, which is as strong as steel. Yeah, that should not be an issue. But if you look at all the other attachments, these are much larger attachments right over there, and then only 1 Dyneema. And here they have stainless steel wiring over it. And then they all have that, except for this top panel. Think about it. This holds up the entire sail below. So why would you make that the weakest? Why are there only 2 points? Maybe they cannot have these big attachment points. Okay, fine. Then maybe do 2 more of those Dyneema points and have 4 in the top of the screen of the sail. You know, your entire sailing mission hangs in the balance of these 2 attachment points in this sail, and not just your sailing mission, but your entire company's success is really hanging on just these 2 attachment points. That's crazy. Let's say only one of these attachment points failed. So most likely the aft one, then it would be hanging down, and this would hold up everything else. But if the sail was up and it completely came down crashing, then that would be a disaster. Like, that would be dangerous. That would be a disaster. I hope that did not happen. I also hope that it didn't break here by the halyard. And then the sail came crashing down. But that would cause a lot more damage if it would come all the way from the top of the mast all the way down. And they said the only damage there was from the top panel right here. So yeah, it's I'm thinking it's just one of these attachment points that is probably damaged. And they were able to fix that again in the next port of call. And they were also on their way again to Baltimore. So if this whole thing came crashing down, that would be a whole nother deal. It would have taken a lot longer probably to inspect and make sure everything is safe. But it looks like it wasn't too bad. What do you think about these attachment points? Do you think that's a design flaw, or do you think it's okay? Let me know in the comments below. Here's a photo of the foot of the mast with the gear around it. And then here is an electro motor, and there is a gear underneath here that rotates this entire foot mast. So that way they can point the sails how they want to go in the direction that they want to sail. It is very good to see that the Neoliner Origin has left St. Pierre et Miquelon and is on its way to Baltimore. And it looks like the ETA is October 29th. They said on their website they would be there on the 30th, but it looks like they're going to be there a day early. So that's very good news. By the way, If you're enjoying my Maritime Insights so far and you're into shipping and shipping news and ship tours, then hit that like and subscribe button. Why is this important? Because if you do not subscribe, then the channel will not grow. And if the channel does not grow, then I won't be able to continue my Maritime Insights for you. So if you're enjoying this video so far, then click that like and subscribe button right now. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I will continue to follow the progress of the Neoliner Origin on its maiden voyage, but also beyond her maiden voyage, because this kind of cargo shipping is not as straightforward than with any other cargo ship. It is a lot more complicated and weather dependent, which makes it interesting to follow Neoliner Origin's progress and hopefully success with their new venture. Now, I think it is very cool. Now, in my next video, I will show you the bridge and the bridge equipment, including how they operate the retractable keel. And then I will also show you the cargo hold, or better said, cargo garages, and what kind of cargo they are shipping. So if you're interested in that, then hit that subscribe button right now. By the way, the Neoliner Origin has 6 passenger cabins with double capacity, so they're probably somewhere around here. I would like to ask you, would you find it cool to be a passenger on a cargo sail ship? Let me know in the comments with a simple yes or no. I would love to hear from you guys. I know that I would love to make a voyage on her. That would be freaking amazing. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then you might find this video right over here interesting as well. Have a look.